We are live. We are live. Welcome to College Football's Peek Around the Corner with your host, Greg Flugar. We cover everything in college football because we love everything in college football. And if you do as well, please subscribe to our channel. Smash the like button if you like our content. Share the video with your family and friends if you want to support this college football's rebel outpost. The home for college football sickos like you. To help us keep the lights on, to make a donation, hit that $sign where you make a comment, and I'll get to your super chat as quick as I possibly can. Welcome, everybody is welcome into the studio that sits on the corner, the very corner of Keith Jackson Parkway and Kurt Gowdy Avenue. Do not be afraid. Do not be afraid to become a legend with your comments and with your phone calls. Welcome, everybody. It is a Saturday. For some of you, it's just got into the afternoon. For some of us in the Midwest, we are sitting 20 minutes away from noon. I know it's Saturday. I know you all are very busy, or you're busy having fun. Whatever it is, I am very thankful. I am very humbled that you would want to join the fat guy from Minnesota talking about college football. Anytime, look, some of you are going to have to leave in 5 minutes. Some of you are going to leave in 30 seconds. But I do appreciate you all joining us at least for a little bit. I'm very humbled by all of you guys so very much. When we begun this show here at Peek Around the Corner, when we began It was August 10th of 2022. Again, I'm going to tell you the story of how we began. But hold on for a moment. Bill G, holy smokes. 5 gifted memberships once again from Bill G. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for helping us keep the lights on here at Peek Around the Corner. I do appreciate it so very much. And the way you do it, giving gift memberships to people. Bill G, thank you so much. Honestly, very humbled by it all. Brown's backer, Eric Ruby, fisherman. Zach Mock is back in the house. Dave Valinsky, Gopher, Mr. Gopher. Please, all of you, when you get an opportunity, please say thank you to Bill G for his incredible generosity. All of you, I'm not ready for this. I'm not ready. All of you are knighted officially. Cloak and dagger. Cloak and dagger. Thank you, Bill G, so very much. Kurt Cersei is listening from Paris, France. Not the usual Central Florida. Mr. Seminole Kurt Cersei, thank you for listening all the way from Paris, France. Holy smokes. Holy smokes. Stephen McNeely, I discovered Greg in March of 2023. Stephen, I appreciate your friendship, your kindness. Thank you so very much. Bo Weevil is in the house. Karan Shakar, Matthew Carlson, 21 Bucket 21. CFB Plus is here. Jan Holk is in the house. Ma Prof, God bless all the moms. You got that right. My 92-year-old mother is watching an SEC softball game. They're doing their tournament. She's had it on. Wait a second. That softball game is on ESPN, however, and I did not see who was playing. Even though I'm the one that put the game on for her. She's been watching the SEC network. 960 here. Channel 960. But this game is on ESPN. Because I made sure it was on high definition for her. She's watching SEC softball tournament. Once in a while, she will turn it to the Big Ten softball conference tournament. But anyways, yes. God bless all the mothers who are still with us. God bless all the mothers who have left us and will be with us once again. Thank you, my prof. D5 Terps is in the house. Jose is here. Edward Douglas Ministries is here. Thanks for coming on in. Clinton Moses, John Grove, the Buckeye Ramirez, Healing, Florida is in the house. Yeah, I did see that. North Carolina now saying that Jordan Hudson can go into these North Carolina football facilities. So, I got a feeling that particular story is not going away anytime soon. Especially if North Carolina starts the season 2-5. But if they go 5-2, then that stuff kind of goes away, unless there's something dramatic happens in the facility, unless there's a breakup, whatever. Anyways, we're not going to be talking about that, however, unless there's breaking news. ESPN Top 25. Yes, we're going to go through that. We are going to go through the way too early ESPN Top 25. Now, I did one way back. I am going to do one again here pretty soon. That's why I want to set the table and talk about ESPN's post-spring Top 25. And then PATC is going to follow that up this week. So that's why we're talking about ESPN. Today on a Saturday, we're going to be talking about PATC's Top 25 later this coming up week. I'm working on it. I'm studying it. I'm breaking down all the film. I'm breaking down all the rosters. I'm breaking down who got what in the portal, who lost who in the portal. I'm breaking down the new defensive coordinators, the offensive coordinators. Yeah, right. I'm not doing any of that. I'm not doing any of that because I'm Greg the Cooler. What is the point? What is the point? Daniel Gygax is in the house. Terrific job, Daniel Gygax, last night with Moen and Wild Jute College Football Mafia show. Go check it out. They were throwing at each other. Good stuff. Very good stuff. Let me get into this throwing. It's all in good fun. It's all in good fun. Let me go back. I want to clear the air on something before we get into ESPN's top 25 and before we get into what Pete Thamel said about the growing alignment between SEC and the Big Ten, which is the main topic of our show. When we get to your phone calls, you are going to control it. You are going to talk about whatever you want to talk about in college football. But let me just rewind the clock, rewind the calendar just a little bit. We started the show on August 10th, 2022. This was after 1 year of people saying, do a show. I mean, I got great support from a handful of people who own their 247, websites and talking to people, chatter behind the curtain, so to speak. And go ahead, do it, Greg. Everyone's doing it, Greg. Why don't you do it? I mean, you're breaking stories left and right. Why don't you do a show? And I said to myself, well, one, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. Two, I mean, you guys can tell I don't know what the hell I'm doing. Number three, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. Number four, I can't talk. So there was a lot of reasons not even to do it. Number five, one of the biggest reasons was, where was I going to find the time to do this? At that time, I was caretaking my mother and father. Now I'm just taking care of my mother. I got other job. How do I do all this? So when we started on August 10th, 2022, most college football most YouTube channels, I think 8% of them only 8% of all YouTube channels get to 1,000 subscribers. College football YouTube channels come and go all the time. There's a million of them out there, and a lot of them do a great job. When we started this, we were not thinking that the show would become what it has become. We were just like, okay, on August 10th, when we did the first live show, we knew the Los Angeles Times article was coming out on August 20th. So what we did is we hurried up and created the studio, put this thing on the wall, did a whole bunch of stuff just to get up and live before that Los Angeles Times article that we knew what was coming out. So we figured, we'll just see what happens. I love talking college football. I do it all the time anyways. Instead of breaking the stories on 247, why maybe I'll just do it on my own YouTube channel. So that is what we did. And there is no way on God's green earth that anybody, any of my friends, my wife, anybody expected our show to still be running here in May in 2025. So I am very humbled and appreciated that you all have given us the support to keep going. Absolutely keep going. I am so very much humbled by it, appreciative of it. Now, I want to clear a couple things up. We're gonna do a little bit of room cleaning here before we get on to the show. I've received quite a few. First of all, I receive DMs all the time, and I'm not always getting back to you all. So I do apologize on that. I got to do a better job. But anyways, I'll try to do a better job on that. I received a lot of DMs. Basically, people trying to look out for me. A lot of you try to look out for me, and I do appreciate that. Number one, and I think most of you know this. When you do a college football YouTube channel, just like many of you, if you, Daniel Gygax, we have a lot of fun on that channel. Absolutely. And Daniel Gygax knows this, and everybody should know this. I mean, whatever you're doing, you are the man or the woman in the arena. If you're a teacher, there's certain things that go along with being a teacher in the classroom. If you are a coach of your baseball team, there are certain things that go along, that come with the job, unfortunately. Like you're getting yelled by a parent because you're not playing Billy Bob Joel off that right field. You're not getting them in the game. Whatever you are doing, you enter into the arena, and there's positives to that, and of course there is a cost. So people are looking out for me saying, great, man, you are just getting hammered and ripped on and character assassination one after the other. And my response to that is, that is what is expected. That is what happens. But I also want to point out the great part about this job is you get to go and have conversations and disagreements. Me and Coos Corner, me and John Kurtz, me and Moen, Daniel Gygax, Nathan Brown, Wild Jude. We're always disagreeing with each other. Sometimes we agree and it's boring. But when we disagree, it is fun. It is magic. We go after it. But at the end of the day, we're fine with each other. It's all good with each other. We all have different perspectives. We all talk to different people. We all walk in different shoes. We all grew up in different regions of the country. By the way, all these guys that I just mentioned and a whole bunch of other people are a whole lot smarter than I am, more intelligent than I am. They have technological advantages. They do such a great job. All of them do it. There is no problem with us jostling back and forth. None. That's what's fun about talking college football. So I want to put that, I got a lot of DMs. I'm saying we're all good. We are all good. I have received some other DMs saying that, there are people going after you like every single day. Every single day. There is a host of people that go after you every single day. And we're not talking disagreement. We're talking basic character assassinations. Again, it comes with the territory. It's just what happens when you do this. It's going to happen. It's going to continue to happen. I don't engage in with it, and it's just going to continue to happen. When I first, how do I say this? When we first started doing this YouTube channel, but way before that, when we were doing stuff on 247, I had a host of people. There were message boards dedicated to Greg Pflugar is a Big Ten stooge. Greg Pflugar is the mouthpiece of the Big Ten. There is a person who owns a particular website out there, it's a big one, who basically labeled Greg Pflugar is Jim Delaney's boy. And they spent weeks, months describing me as such. So, this was years ago. Obviously, Jim Delaney hasn't been and I'm out. So, and then years later, when I was breaking the USC story, the Big Ten was absolutely pissed at me, followed me. Major media outlets investigated it, including the Los Angeles Times. I gave them all the evidence we had. So, no, obviously I'm not a Big Ten mouthpiece. How often have I ripped on Tony Petitti over the last 6 months? How often did I rip on Kevin Warren? Again, so this comes with the territory. It just does. It has been brought to my attention through 3 DMs in the last 24 hours that somehow I am being accused of doing this for the money. Doing this for the money. I only can laugh. Really, it brings I showed the little general one of these DMs. Number one. It wasn't Kevin Warren, but it was somebody on his staff. If we were doing this for the money, there's only a million examples that I could. If we were doing this for the money, do you think I would have come out on June 15th, 2024 and said that Florida State and Clemson were not the number one targets of the SEC and the Big Ten? If I was doing this for the money, I would have made up something like Florida State has a Big Ten invite in hand. I would have been saying that over the last 2 years, but that wasn't true. If I was in this for the money, I would be cutting up all these long shows that we do, cutting them up and putting them out there in videos, 15 different videos a day and getting all these views and clicks. I have never even done that once. If I was in this for the money, there's a part on YouTube where you can invest in promotion, invest in putting your channel out there. There's a part in the YouTube channel where you can put money to make sure you grow your channel. I haven't spent a dime on that. We have been offered here at Peek Around the Corner to be part of these big networks. You know, those big YouTube networks that are out there, to become part of the family. We were offered a North and South radio deal between us and people in Alabama, and I turned it down. That would be making 4 times as much money as we are now. There's others. So there has been people willing to advertise on this YouTube channel. I've turned them down. There are gambling companies that want me to put their label up on my screen, and I've turned them down. In fact, the reality is we are about as making as less money as you could possibly do per the number of views that we get, because I've turned all these opportunities down because we're not doing it for the money. We are trying to, because of the kindness of people in the PATC family, is to make enough money so we can continue on, because the little general knows how much time I spend working on this show. That is all that we're doing. So what I'm trying to say is, you do this long enough. You do this long enough. You do a YouTube show long enough, and you survive, and you have a community that loves to talk college football with you, a community that we like to disagree with each other. We do picks against the spread. I do what? How many watch parties did we do last year at Peek Around the Corner? How many games did we do? About 40? And those watch parties, they take 4 hours for each watch party. Do you know how much time that is that we're doing these watch parties? Why are we doing these watch parties? Because I love college football. Because you love college football. Do you know that we average about 30 people in the chat room during these watch parties? But yet I keep doing them because I don't care. I don't care that there's only 30 people because I'm having a blast. Because I love watching college football with anybody who joins us on that particular game. Do you think we're doing watch parties because of the money? All that time, we're making about 2 cents an hour. I showed the little general a certain post by a certain individual accusing me of being a grifter, and she did not stop laughing for 5 minutes. In fact, we went and ate dinner, and she started laughing again about it. So this comes with the job. It's a cost. It comes with it. And it is, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. None of that matters. None of it hurts the channel. None of it hurts me. None of it hurts the wife. It's just things that you can just laugh at, and it's all good. I mean, one of the that was devastating. 2 missed field goals. Darius Taylor didn't play. Daniel Gygax has got me all worked up. All worked up. Another thing, I was told early on, I was advised early on when we started this program, this channel, not to do phone calls. Not to open it up for phone calls. Because you can't control the phone calls. That hardly anybody has a channel that takes phone calls. I mean, there are some, especially national ones. Mark Rogers, who does a great job, does a fantastic job. He opens up the phone lines. I know John Kennedy, Always Irish, puts up the phone lines. He does it's a Notre Dame channel, fantastic. There are channels out there, but most do not. Most have panels of people talking, which is fantastic. When you got 4 or 5 people talking and talking about certain events in college football, There are magical moments when you're doing that. Great moments. 5 different characters up on your phone and television screen, and they're creating magic at times. It's fantastic. We don't do that here. I don't do that here. I chose for the phone calls. And one of the reasons I said to my wife and a couple of my friends who often go in the chat room, I said, I always wanted to talk college football. I always wanted a voice. I joined 247. The only way I could get that USC story out, the PJ Fleck story out, Notre Dame joining Big Ten hockey, I really had to fight. Because I was being given information. There was no outlet. And I am a nobody. That's when the Los Angeles Times article, I insisted that they labeled the article, I am a nobody. I still am. But I wanted to have a YouTube channel for the nobodies out there. I have not interviewed any national reporter. I could have. I could have interviewed there's a list of people that I could have interviewed, but that was going to go against the brand and the mission of this show, to open it up for the nobodies like me. But I was warned, do not do that, Greg, because you cannot, you're going to have people that are going to take advantage of you. So we did but we got the phone lines going. We do it every single day. We're going to do it today. And then we've had people, regular callers, in 99% of our live shows. There's been a couple live shows where I've limited the call to 5 minutes because it was a hot topic. We knew the phone lines were going to be, people are going to want to call in. But 99% of the time we do a live show, I let people talk as much as they want. And then we go to the next caller. But I was warned there was going to be people that are going to take advantage of it. There are people that were going to take advantage of all that time being on the airwaves of PATC. It happened. It happened. Lesson learned. However, we're not going to stop doing it. We are not going to stop with the phone calls. If later on there's another person that comes along and takes advantage of myself and PATC and calls in and day out and talks for a long time, and I'll let them have all the time in the world that they need, and then later on they spend all their time with character assassinations against the show and myself, that is what is going to happen. It's going to happen again because we're not going to shut the phone lines down. Because at the end of the day, it does not matter. None of that matters. What we do here at Peek Around the Corner. We have fun. We're going to continue to have fun. We're going to jostle. We are going to disagree with each other. I am going to predict the Golden Gophers are going to win the national championship. All of you are going to be upset with me. No, I'm not. I'm not going to do that. Maybe I will. Stay tuned. Stay tuned. So, anyways, we got done with all of that. My wife got a good laugh yesterday, so I do appreciate all of that. Okay, let's get to it. We got a good little show here for Saturday. We got a good little show here on a Saturday. Bill G, I thank you so very much. Jose, thank you, Godfather. Go for Godfather. Decided to create the PATC family. Your passion is infectious. We are forever grateful. Thank you. I am forever grateful. I am. There's a lot of great football YouTube channels out there. And yet enough of you spend your time watching the fat guy from Minnesota make a fool of himself when he wins 41% against the spread. Jose, thank you so much for your being a Cloak and Dagger member. You are officially knighted. Cloak and dagger. Holy smokes. George Holton, Osceola the trucker. Even if you were doing it for the money, who cares? You do a fantastic job. Well, I do appreciate the kind words, Osceola the trucker. I thank you so much for saying that. I mean, again, we're only trying to get the money to make it worthwhile so we don't make 50 cents a dollar. That's all that, 50 cents an hour. That's all that we're doing. We're not trying to get rich. I'm just, Maria is like, you know, and I got to say thank you to Maria because she supports the show because she knows how much time I spent before we did this YouTube channel, breaking stories. And she likes this channel because she knows it scratches my creative itch. Now, I'm not a very successful creative guy, but I do have a creative itch that I got to scratch. That's why I do the renditions. Every once in a while, I got to sing a song related to college football. So we put, and by the way, those episodes take a long time. They average about 170 viewers. I'm definitely not doing that for the money, am I? But I spend a lot of time on it, and I make a fool of myself singing a song. So, again, we're not doing it for the money. The wife knows that I've had better opportunities when it comes to money, and we've turned them down, so we're definitely not doing it for the money. Thank you, George Holton. Appreciate it. I appreciate the super chat. Rock and rant. Always better to be loved and hated than ignored. Well, I must be doing a great job then, because I am definitely hated out there. Thank you, Rock and Rant. Appreciate the super chat. And Torrey, linebacker Torrey. I don't say his name correctly. It is Torrey. I can't say my R's. It's not the only letter that I cannot pronounce. Mohamed Torrey, the linebacker from Rutgers, transfers to the Hurricanes. He was injured last year. In fact, I think he was injured before the start of the season. And I made a big deal of that. That was a crushing blow to Rutgers' 2024 prospects. Really good linebacker. Really good linebacker in rushing the quarterback. Number 58. I don't know. Maybe he's called a rush end. Whatever. I think he's a line. Whatever. But all I know is Torrey played with Tom Heatherman at Rutgers. All I know, if you look at the statistics at Minnesota last year, we were one of the top blitzing teams in the country, if not the top one. And we've had a history at Minnesota being one of the least blitzing teams because we never had the athletes to blitz, to be honest with you. We never got to the quarterback. But with Heatherman, we got to the quarterback. All I'm saying is I think Heatherman is going to send Torrey at the quarterbacks for the Hurricanes in 25. Watch out. He's a good player. Hopefully he can stay healthy. Thank you, Rock and Rant. Thank you for the super chat. I do appreciate it. Moen, those who inspire others are not nobody, my friend. Thank you for the super chat, Moen. Thank you so much for your friendship. I do appreciate it. And just be careful. Be very careful. October 4th. October 4th. Circle that date on your calendar. If you're in the chat room and if you're listening to anything that I'm saying, go to Ohio State Buckeyes football schedule, and look who they're playing October 4th. Circle the date. Thank you for the super chat, Moen. I do very much appreciate it. Okay, let's get to it. We got a lot to get to. I appreciate everybody for coming on in. Absolutely, the phone calls are the best. Phone lines are open. Not quite yet. Not quite yet, but I do appreciate it. Mark Bowman, what do you expect from the ACC meeting this week? That is a whole nother show, Mark. That's a great question. Thank you for your super chat. I have been warned. This is not a cop-out. You can treat it as such, but I'm telling you, it's not a cop-out when I say this. I have been warned. What is being said in public is not what's being done in private. When it comes to the ACC athletic directors, the presidents, and all that, what they're going to say in public is not what's being done in private. And again, people, it sounds like a cop-out. It ain't. I do think that the wall is going to be penetrated. The wall of silence is going to be cracked. I believe that we're going to get some reporting on a national level, possibly a local, a team beat writer level. I think we're going to get some reporting that indicates that there are ACC schools that have been very active. And I'm going to be blunt. They have been very active in trying to get the hell out. And I use that phrase because that's the exact phrase that has been told to me. Regardless of all this other stuff that's going on, the kumbaya, the AC, Richard McCullough or Michael Alford being interviewed here, Radakovich being interviewed there, what we can do in the future here, we are satisfied, we're going to make more money, blah, 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 blah. A lot of action in the background. And once those stories start to crack, and I think it might happen this week, I think it will, then maybe I'm going to be able to push the envelope just a little bit more. And I'm going to learn a lot, just like you guys are. What do I expect? I expect a lot of everything is okay in public statements. I don't think they're going to touch the subject of two divisions, one division brand, the other division no brand. Then we're going to see fireworks in public, but I don't think they're going to go into that. We're probably going to get talks about the college football playoffs, the governance, the A4 taking over. But I think what people are most going to be interested in is some reporting that's going to come out that we haven't seen in a while. I'll just leave it at that. Mark Bowman, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Appreciate the super chat. Okay. All right. First of all, we got to get to the way too early ESPN top 25. And then we're going to get into the main story, Sanky and Petiti alignment. Sanky and Petiti alignment. What are we talking about there? Well, we're going to talk about it because Pete Thamel talked about it. Pete Thamel, ESPN, talked about it. So we're going to get there. We are going to get there. All right. But first, we're going to go to the ESPN way too early top 25 because honestly, PATC is going to be coming out with one this week. And I want to be able to compare and contrast ESPN and the genius of Greg the Gold when I come out with my top 25. First, can't do much of this. Not today. Not today. First, we got to get to ESPN's top 25. Penn State Nittany Lions. Number 1. Moen ain't happy. Moen's not happy. Caleb Ramirez is not happy. All the Michigan maize and blue and all the Michigan. Penn State number 1, Drew Aller, Katron Allen, Nicholas Singleton, Nick Dawkins, Dennis Sutton, the big defensive end, he's coming back. Zake Wheatley, the big safety who played brilliantly in the playoffs last year, he's coming back. They got Pena, the receiver from Syracuse. Look, I don't know. Pena had one great season last year. He did. He struggled before that. I don't know how good Pena is, to be honest with you. I don't know. I don't know if he's a wide receiver number 1. Devontae Ross, the transfer from Troy, he's taken a step up. There was a lot of interest in Ross in the portal. Kyron Hudson is a great athlete. I think Jose would agree with this. A better athlete than receiver. Can Penn State develop him? I don't know. I don't know. Anyways, we shall see. That wide receiver room for me is still, I don't know. But Penn State is absolutely loaded. I got them winning the Big Ten championship. Number 2, Clemson Tigers. I got them going to the national championship this year against the Texas Longhorns. Cade Klubnik, Antonio Williams, probably, most likely, hopefully, completely healthy. Antonio Williams. Last year, he was coming back from that injury of 2 years ago. Bryant Wesco. Really pretty good season last year. For a true freshman, he was no Jeremiah Smith from the Buckeyes. But Wesco, look, all the reports, Wesco put on some muscle. Brian Wesco, look out. Of course, you got Peter Woods, the great defensive lineman. You got T.J. Parker. The portal additions, the defensive end from Purdue, the wide receiver from Southeast Missouri State. Clemson actually got a couple portal players. The Texas Longhorns, number 3. I am the conductor. I am driving the Arch Manning hype train. Moen is in the back. Moen and Rock and Rant and Daniel Gygax. I got them in the caboose, baby. I got them in the caboose. They're shoveling the coal to make the steam engine run, but I am the conductor. Arch Manning, baby. I am riding the hype train. Wisner showed me something. Wisner, the running back, showed me something last year. Anthony Hill, All-American. Colin Simmons, All-American. Fantastic players. What they got in the portal, you know, I got to be honest with you. Cole Brevard, Purdue, not really impressed. I don't know if they really did a whole lot in the portal, but they got a whole lot of guys coming back for the Texas Longhorns. The Georgia Bulldogs. Number 4, Gunnar Stockton. Okay, he got his feet wet last year, but is he really ready? Is he ready? Is he good enough? Oscar Delp, tight end. Okay, all right. KJ Bolden, top 5 safety in the country. But they don't have Frazier listed here. Running back, Frazier. I think he's going to have an outstanding season. Why ESPN don't have him listed as a key returning player, I've got no idea. They did pick up Josh McCray, the big running back from Illinois. And Medozi, we talked about him during the Army-Navy game. Medozi is a player, the linebacker. Zachariah Branch, another guy who's a better athlete than wide receiver. Zachariah Branch, I got to be honest, Minnesota had no problem with him at all. They had problems with Woody Marks and other parts of that great offense. They had no problem with Zachariah Branch. After the game, weeks after the game, nobody was impressed with Branch. A lot of speed, a lot of athletic ability. Is he going to help the Georgia Bulldogs, that weak wide receiver room of last year? The wide receiver room that led the country in drops? Zachariah Branch is the answer? I don't know. Hopefully Noah Thomas is for the Bulldogs. The Buckeyes number 5. The Buckeyes number 5. Quarterback. Who's going to be their quarterback? I know Moen says it's going to be saying, well, we shall see. We shall see. Jeremiah Smith, Carnell Tate, Ennis, the wide receiver room. And of course, they got that wide receiver who was the spring game most valuable player, true freshman from last year. He should have been on this list. He's not. Key transfer portals. Phillip Daniels in Minnesota. I did see a report that he's expected to be the starting right tackle. Don't know if that's going to work. We shall see. I'm a little nervous about that. Bo Atkinson for North Carolina was a beast last year. North Carolina had a couple really good defensive players last year. Atkinson and Campbell, Amari Campbell, who is the linebacker who's going to Penn State Nittany Lions, by the way. Number 6, the LSU Tigers. What they got coming back, they are loaded. Nussmeier, he told me to shut up last year. He told the fat guy from Minnesota, you're not a believer? Look at this. Look at this. Garrett Nussmeier was outstanding last year. The running game was not good for LSU. So that is the one part of their game we're going to have to be taking a look at early in the season. Aaron Anderson, wide receiver, coming back. Harold Perkins Jr. is coming back for yet another year. But baby, the LSU Tigers did mop up in the portal. Brian Kelly, the head coach. Remember Brian Kelly, the head coach? He gave some up of his salary for LSU to spend in the portal. Patrick Payton, Florida State. Jack Pyburn of Florida. I don't know. I think he's a little bit overhyped. He's a rush end. I'm not impressed with Pyburn. Nick Anderson, Oklahoma wide receiver. Berrien Brown, I've always loved Berrien Brown at Kentucky. A lot of production out of Mr. Brown. A great pickup for the LSU Tigers. Great pickup. And that guard from Northwestern, Josh Thompson, he is a player. He is a player. And Tamarcus Cooley, North Carolina State. We've seen him play. He can also... Look, LSU did fantastic in the portal, in my opinion. Number 7, Notre Dame. Jeremiah Love, Jadarian Price. Their returning backfield. Holy smokes. Those two running backs average close to combined 7 yards per rush. Jordan Fajon was coming on last year. You saw what Jaden Greathouse did in the playoffs. It all finally clicked for Jaden Greathouse. Some of their portal, Will Pauling, Wisconsin. Again, Will Pauling from Wisconsin. He's an athlete. He can get open. But will he catch you the football? Too many drops in Madison. Way too many drops at key spots for Will Pauling at Madison. Number 7, Notre Dame. Number 8, the Oregon Ducks. Evan Stewart, the great wide receiver. They got a lot of guys coming back next year. The Ducks are loaded, number 8 in the nation. And they got the tough running back, Mekhi Hughes from Tulane. Absolutely brilliant season last year. Ran over 1,400 yards, if I remember that correctly. That Tulane versus Kansas State game is seared into my brain. Darian Mensah, fantastic. He went out to be the quarterback at Duke. Mekhi Hughes was fantastic. Now he's the running back of the Oregon Ducks. Oregon Ducks, number 8. Number 9, Alabama Crimson Tide. Running back Jam Miller. He's going to be better this year. Ryan Williams now going to be a sophomore. He's even going to be better this year. Fantastic season. Caden Proctor, the offensive tackle. Look, their secondary is absolutely loaded. The Crimson Tide secondary is going to be a no-fly zone for the SEC. The BYU Cougars, number 10. The BYU Cougars, the first Big 12 team on ESPN's top 25 list. Wow. Jake Ratzlaff coming back for one more year. Now, can he be a little bit more consistent? Can he protect the ball a little bit better? Jake Ratzlaff was outstanding in the fourth quarter. Put on some brilliant drives late in games. Jake Ratzlaff. L.J. Martin, a good, tough running back for BYU. Chase Roberts, who's caught 5,000 balls, it seems like. Chase Roberts, the possession receiver. Ratzlaff to Roberts, first down. Ratzlaff to Roberts, another first down. Moving the chains, Chase Roberts. Key returning receiver for the BYU Cougars. Defense, good defense last year. Carried the team in a lot of spots last year. BYU Cougars, number 11. The Fighting Illini, holy smokes. Getting a lot of respect. Luke Altmaier. He was good last year, man. He was good. Now they lost Josh McCray. But again, ESPN did not put up a player in the running back spot. They got Mr. Valentine, who's got a lot of juice. For whatever reason, Illinois don't have him listed as a key returning player. Xavier Scott, the cornerback, big-time player. Matthew Bailey, again, they're good at the safety position. Hudson Clement, West Virginia. A lot of Big 12 people in the chat room will remember Hudson Clement. I think he's originally from the state of West Virginia. He had a really good season last year. He went in the portal, and there was a lot of interest in him. Illinois got him. That was a huge pickup. Remember, they lost the wide receiver in the NFL draft. Mr. Bryant, Paul Bryant. So this is a big get. Arizona State, number 12. ESPN has Arizona State behind BYU. Quarterback Sam Leavitt. One of the top 3 quarterbacks in the nation, in my opinion. Jordan Tyson got injured, and it hurt the Sun Devils in the playoffs, but Jordan Tyson is going to be back. Kyson Brown, Look, Kyson Brown and Kane Udo, the transfer running back from Army, they're going to have to replace Cam Scatabo. Let's see what happens there. The Arizona State Sun Devils are absolutely loaded. Number 9, Sam Levitt. When you got Sam Levitt coming back, you are in a good spot. You are in a good spot. Number 13, South Carolina Gamecocks. South Carolina Gamecocks. Lenore Sellers, the quarterback. Dylan Stewart, the defensive end. Brian Thomas, defensive end. The portal additions. Sean Murphy, Florida State. Hopefully he gets some playing time here. Anyways, number 13 is the Gamecocks. Number 14, Iowa State. Rocco Beck, the quarterback, coming back. Carson Hansen coming back. Abu Sama didn't have a good year last year. I'm wondering if they're going to move him out of the RB spot. Abu Sama, I thought he was going to be a superstar last year. A little bit disappointing. Key transfers. Chase Sawell, East Carolina. Xavier Townsend, Central Florida. Number 15, SMU. We're going to go through this a lot quicker here. Quarterback Kevin Jennings. The quarterback who did not start as QB1 last year, but took the job and was pretty good. They got TJ Harden, key transfer running back from UCLA. A tough runner, not a superstar, but a tough runner, going to get tough yards. Going to get tough yards for SMU. Number 16, the Texas Tech Red Raiders. The Red Baron Morton, returning quarterback, threw over 3,200 yards last year. Caleb Douglas, the receiver. Coy Eakin is back. The key transfers. Portal additions. Well, the number one guy for me is Lee Hunter, Central Florida. Absolute beast. Lee Hunter. Reggie Virgil, the receiver from Miami of Ohio, had a fantastic season last year. Big time pickups for the Texas Tech Red Raiders. A whole bunch of guys they got. Indiana, number 17. Sarat is back. The great wide receiver came from James Madison. He's returning. Big time player. The big transfer portal addition is Fernando Mendoza. Had a great season with California last year. And Pat Coogan, who played a lot of snaps for Notre Dame. Mendoza and Coogan, boy, great portal additions for the Indiana Hoosiers. Number 18, Kansas State Wildcats, Avery Johnson. If he can take another step up, the Wildcats are going to be looking great in the Big 12 title race. Dylan Edwards, now he's going to get the rock this year. He is going to get the rock this year. Dylan Edwards, sensational bowl game. He is ready to roll. Key transfer portal additions. Gabe Powers, linebacker. I know the Gophers went after him, but the Wildcats got him. Gabe Powers, linebacker. Jerron Tibbs, Purdue. The Florida Gators, number 19. Last year, Napier was on everybody's hot seat to lose his job, including yours truly. This year, ESPN's got the Gators, number 19. Returning starters, key, Slaughter. Jake Slaughter, the great center from Florida. He's coming back, and he's going to help out that young quarterback, DJ Legway. Eugene Wilson. It's time for Eugene Wilson to become a superstar. Did not happen last year. Going to happen this year. DJ Legway, Slaughter, and Eugene Wilson. Florida Gators, number 19. Number 20, the Michigan Wolverines. Now, I got to be honest with you, Michigan. I don't have Michigan in my top 25. It ain't going to happen. It ain't going to happen, and I'll explain why in a moment here. Ernest Hausman, who transferred from Nebraska a couple years ago, promising linebacker, it's time for him to become a superstar. A lot of players coming back. Michigan key portal additions. Justice Haynes, Alabama running back. Yeah, that's a big one. Mickey Keene, Fresno State. He might be QB1 at first week. Again, if you look at the 25 outlook, 5-star prospect Bryce Underwood and Jaden Davis got most of the work in the spring. Who is going to be their QB1? I cannot have true freshman quarterback Bryce Underwood in having Michigan in the top 25. I'm going to have them just outside of the top 25. They lost Mason Graham and Kenneth Grant, the two defensive linemen. I just can't put Michigan there. Michigan Wolverines tell me that I'm wrong. Miami Hurricanes, number 21. Mark Fletcher, Jordan Lyle, returning running backs. Fletcher is going to be a guy I think they're going to rely on more. He was their, they had Martinez as RB1. Fletcher was their changeup guy, their third down guy. He's had a lot of great moments. This year, I think they're going to count on him a little bit more. Ruben Bain, defensive end. Heatherman is going to unleash Ruben Bain. Unleash him. The big portal addition is quarterback Carson Beck, replacing Cam Ward. Carson Beck, I think he's going to have a pretty damn good year for Miami. That Georgia team last year was incompetent at the wide receiver position, did not use their running backs and pass play enough. Carson Beck is going to get all the support he needs at Miami. CJ Daniels, Keelan Marion, BYU, Tony Johnson. They brought a bunch of wide receiver help. We'll see what happens in Miami. Number 21, number 22, Louisville. Returning players, Isaac Brown, baby. Isaac Brown. Unbelievable, sensational season last year for the Cardinals. He's going to be a superstar this year. Of course, Chris Bell coming back. But the big-time transfer portal addition for Jeff Brom is Miller Moss. And in my opinion, Miller Moss fits perfectly with Jeff Brom's offense. Jeff Brom's offense is not a max protection offense. Jeff Brom's offense is not an offense where you move the pocket. Jeff Brom's offense is 3 steps, 5 steps back, everybody out, West Coast style, get rid of the ball. Miller Moss, you got to make the right reads. It fits perfectly what Miller Moss does. Don't ask Miller Moss to run with the ball. Don't ask Miller Moss to avoid a one-man rush. Ask Miller Moss to make the correct hot route reads. Dump it off. Get rid of the ball. Miller Moss, and I think, Jeff Brom targeted Miller Moss. Miller Moss knew that Jeff Brom's offense fits him to a T. I got Louisville, man. I got them in the top 3 in the ACC this year. I don't quite know what I'm going to do between Miami and Louisville. I got Clemson number 1. Right now, I got Miami and Louisville do-si-doing with each other for 2 and 3. But this, I think, is going to be one of the best transfer additions in the country. We'll see what happens. Number 23, Texas A&M. Marcel Reed, I don't know. Levon Moss coming back from the injury should help. Should help. Key transfer portals, you got Mario Carver from Mississippi State. But the big one is Kevin Concepcion, North Carolina State. Another guy who's caught 500,000 receptions in the last 2 years. Wow. Kevin Concepcion, big time possession receiver, going to help Texas A&M a lot. Number 24, Ole Miss. I'm not going to be having Ole Miss in my top 25. Look, I get it. The Austin Simmons hype is almost as big as Arch Manning. But I got to see it to believe it. You're going from Jackson Dart to Austin Simmons, and Ole Miss lost a lot of guys, man. They did. They lost a lot. Big time defensive interior linemen. They couldn't run the ball on short downs last year. I don't know about Ole Miss. I do not have them in the top 25. Oklahoma Sooners is the last one on ESPN's list. Oklahoma Sooners. It's going to be an exciting team. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun watching John Mateer and Jaden Ott in the backfield. Those two cats can play football. So Oklahoma is going to have a fun season. I'm not going to have them in the top 25 either. But it is going to be a blast to watch Oklahoma. They're going to score some points. They are going to score some points. Okay. So anyways, that's the top 25. Let me know what you think in the chat or with your phone calls on what you think of the top 25. Way too early, ESPN. And again, I'm going to be coming out with my top 25 PATC post-spring top 25 this week. It's going to happen this week. My only caveat to that is there is a really good chance this is going to be a crazy week. So if this week is completely filled up with drama in the ACC, okay, the PATC post-spring top 25 might go on till next week. But I think it's going to happen this week. Okay, now, let's get to the story of today, and then we'll get to your phone calls. Sanky and Petiti alignment. Sanky and Petiti alignment. We just talked a lot of football, and now let's go into the off-season drama. Sanky and Petiti alignment. Yesterday, and I will provide a link to this YouTube show, the Pat McAfee show with Pete Thamel. Okay, yesterday. I will provide a link to that after the end of the live show. It will be in the description box below the video. I will make sure I will add that, okay? This is, I posted the high points, the interesting points, for me anyways, on what Pete Thamel said, okay? Pete Thamel said verbatim that Sankey is beginning to align himself with Petitti on the auto bids. It looks like they got the green light to go to 9 conference games. They're going to get more money. Sounds like it's going to be enough to get the 9 conference games. SEC doesn't look like they're getting the how do I say it? They're not being satisfied with the answers that are being given on terms of how does the selection committee make their decisions on who goes to the playoffs. They're still not happy with what happened last year. I happen to think the committee got it right for the most part. Just my opinion. So Sankey is beginning to align himself with Petitti on auto bids. By the way, this was reported by Ross Dellinger of a couple weeks ago. We did a live show on it. Ross Dellinger reported that the advisory group, that both the Big Ten and the SEC's athletic directors and presidents are in favor of all these auto bids that they're getting. So it's not the first time we've heard this. But from Pete Thamel's mouth, Sankey is beginning to align himself with Petitti on auto bids. Pete Thamel also said that the SEC coaches want these auto bids. They want them. They want to be in contention. They want to be in contention in the middle of the season. Few weeks left to go in the season. They want to be able to get into that, maybe that 4th spot and get into a play-in game, or get into that 6th spot and get into a play-in game. So the SEC coaches want the auto bids. So the SEC is moving towards Tony Petitti in trying to get the 4 auto bids. Pete Thamel said, verbatim, Pete Thamel said that the SEC and the Big Ten are likely to have double the auto bids that the ACC and the Big 12 will receive. So again, we're looking at 4-4-2-2-1-3. And you are correct, AMAC. And we reported that for the last so many weeks and months. Petitti was playing the bad cop on the auto bids. Sankey was playing the good cop. Okay. And then Pete Thamel went on to say that the presidential committee that is being lined up won't have the power to create change. Whatever, to be able to get some law into place to codify the settlement, it's going to need congressional action. Pete Thamel said it on the Pat McAfee show. So the presidential committee, is it going to hurt or help what's going on in Congress with those 5 senators? We shall find out. But senators, Republican and Democrats, were both shocked, according to Pete Thamel and other reports, that the presidential commission was even set up. They had no idea that it was about to happen. So, so there it is. That is what Pete Thamel discussed on the Pat McAfee show yesterday. Sankey is beginning to align himself with Petitti and auto bids. The SEC coaches want the auto bids. The SEC and the Big Ten will likely to have double the auto bids at the ACC and the Big 12. And the Presidential Commission won't have the power alone to create any changes. They're going to need congressional action. One other thing. One other thing, and then we'll get to your phone calls. Heartbreak 25. I know you don't like 4 auto bids, but isn't that the Gophers' best way to the playoffs with the Big Ten Conference tourney? They are a top 6 good many years. Hold on. One thing. I need to clear something up here. Give me one moment. I will answer that question in a moment. I do apologize, Heartbreak 25. I got to do something real quick here. I got to get rid of that. I got to get rid of that. Okay. Yes, I do not. It's not that I don't like the. It's not only that I do not like the 4 auto bids. I don't like any auto bids except for conference champion. I don't like any of the. You want to do an auto bid for the top 4 conference, the A4 auto bids. I'm for that, and then the top ranking G6. I'm for that. And then the rest of them should be at large. And I've told my reasons why. I get it. This is where I get in trouble with everybody, but that's fine. I get it. The Big Ten and the SEC are more powerful. They got whatever. The advantages, understood. But we're all still in the same division. We're all in the FBS. I don't like it being predetermined before the season starts. I get all the reasons why they want it. I get it, guys. I'm talking about as a fan. A fan. I don't like the predetermination of auto bids. I don't like it. It's not, and I know people keep bringing up these examples, and they're all apples and oranges. None of them are apples and apples, saying, well, the NBA, they've got, it's predetermined that there are 16 playoff spots. Well, yeah, 8 in the Eastern Conference, 8 in the Western Conference, and it's based upon records. Duh. I mean, we don't have this in any other sport where it's one entity within the same umbrella gets more auto bids than the other ones. It's the other entities that are under the same umbrella. We're all still under the same umbrella. In this last playoffs, this is going to be year. It's either going to be year 12 or 13 of this playoff contract, and then we start a new one in 2026. Last year, it was the top 5 ranked conference champions get an auto bid. They're in. Okay? But technically, the SEC champion did not get an automatic bid into the playoffs last year. Technically, that is not the case. It just so happens to be that, obviously, the SEC champion is going to be one of the top 5 ranked champions. But it ain't technically, it isn't like the SEC champion gets an automatic bid. That's not part of the rules. Starting whenever this begins, starting in 2026, is going to be the first time that we designate automatic bids to a particular conference. We don't do that in any other sport. We just don't. I don't like it. I'm not going to like it. Now, I reported that it was going to happen. I reported, you guys know on that September 9th show, I said Big Ten's pushing for 4, while everybody was writing 3-3-2-2, these articles that were coming out. I said the Big Ten, and I think it was a fait accompli a few months ago. We'll see what happens. But what I report and what I want are a lot of times two different things. As a fan, I don't want it. As for the Golden Gophers, yeah, it's the best way for them to make the playoffs. Absolutely. I mean, when it was the Big Ten 14 teams over the last 7 years, if you take all the wins and losses and add them all together, the Gophers were the 6th best Big Ten team overall. They were not as good as Penn State. They were not as good as Ohio State. They were not as good as Michigan. They were not as good as Wisconsin. They were not as good as Iowa. If you accumulated the last 7, 8 full seasons, those 5 teams' accumulation were ahead of the Gophers. All the other Big Ten teams were behind the Gophers. Maryland, Rutgers, Michigan State, Illinois, Northwestern, the rest of them. So Minnesota has been just a little bit above average. And then last year, they were able to beat USC and UCLA. Can Minnesota get into that 6th spot in some years to get into that playoff game? Yeah, it's their best shot. No question about it. For Minnesota, it's going to help. No question about it. But, again, so most Gopher fans love it. And I am a Gopher fan, but I'm also a college football fan. And we're going to report it. We're going to watch the conference races in 2026. We're going to keep reporting, Cincinnati is number 5 in the Big 12 race. They might get to that number 4 to get into a play-in game. If the Big 12 has 2 play. We're going to be covering it. We're going to be excited over it. But if now I'm just telling you what I want like a fan, because Heartbreak 25 is asking me as a fan. I would be more supportive of the automatic bids if it could easily be flipped to something else. Like, okay, go with 4-4-2-2. But what if the ACC, what if there's 3 or 4 programs that emerge over the next 5 years that are outstanding? I mean, what if it's obvious that the Big Ten shouldn't get the 4? They should only get 3. Or the SEC should only get 3. Or what if it's obvious that the Big 12 should be getting 3? And the AC, I mean, I don't like the permanence of it. That's another problem I have. If the numbers, if there can be a look in and they can change, then I will support it. But that's not going to happen. Maybe there'll be some part of the contract. But when the Big Ten, if the Big Ten gets 4 auto bids, and I think they will, and then they have these meeting negotiations with Fox, CBS, and NBC, and they've already talked about all this because that's how we knew about all this on September 9th. That's how it was leaked to us. We said it on that show last September 9th. It's going to be like a 4 or 5 year contract. They're going to be making millions of dollars. And the Big Ten ain't going to be interested in saying, oh, we're going to go from 4 out of bids to 3 out of bids. It's too permanent. So anyways, as a fan, I don't like it. As a college football fan, I don't like it. But you're right, Heartbreak 25. It would help. It would help the Gophers. It would. Ryan Willie, the evil badger. Anyone who wants a Super League is not a capitalist. You don't pick and choose who gets in and tell them they need to pool all their money with everyone else. Let the free market work. Utah and BYU would likely be out of a socialist Super League. Thank you, Ryan Willie. I know you are very passionate about that issue. I'm against the Super League as well because I think it's First of all, thank you for the super chat, Ryan Willie. Thank you for your generosity. I do very much appreciate your kindness, your support. Thank you so much. I have described the SEC in the Big Ten's action as Machiavellian. Remember when I did a live show when I put the Machiavellian, the political leader, up on the title screen? I've called them ruthless aggression. I've called the Big Ten stabbing their sister conference in the back of the Pac-12. I have been ripping on Petitti and Sankey for months, if not for a whole year by now, on many different issues. I have never been shy of calling it like it is. Ruthless aggression, expanding their conference, gaining more power, serving their own self-interest. I've never been shy of this. They're not in it for anybody else. They're not in it for the betterment of college football. I have been consistent week in, week out, month in, month out over the objections of my fellow Big Ten people and SEC people. However, recently in the last few days, I have called this Super League talk also ruthless aggression. It is. It's not for the betterment of college football either. And I've laid it out. I've had tussles with my friends on X, YouTube. I put out a show that the Big Ten is under attack, and a lot of people lost their heads, and a lot of people didn't even watch the show, and they judged the show on the title of it. Oh, the Big Ten's not under attack. This is but I talked about the Super League. All this talk of the Super League. This is the pushback from forces outside of the SEC, outside of the Big Ten. And I said on that live show, and I'll say it again, I don't blame them for the pushback. It's an absolute pushback. Absolutely it is. And I tip my hat to the hustle. I tip my hat to the effort. But the Super League is not. What I'm not going to do is say that it's for the betterment of college football. Just like I don't say what the Big Ten is doing is for the betterment of football. What the Big Ten is doing is for the betterment of the Big Ten. What the SEC is doing is for the betterment of the SEC. When the Big 12 poached the Pac-12, it was for the betterment of the Big 12. When the ACC poached the Big East, it was for the betterment of the ACC. The Super League creation and everything that they're talking about, and Cody Campbell and everything, that is not the betterment for football. That is for the betterment of the interests that they have. I'm being consistent. You know what a Super League does? You know what you know what Jack Swarbrick's Super League did? That supposedly was the betterment for college football? It absolutely eliminated, demolished the value of the G5 schools in all of their athletic departments, because that Super League not only called for eliminating the playoff access for those G5 schools, it eliminated games between those schools in the Super League and the G5 schools. Those super leagues that were supposedly all altruistic and all beautiful, would have decimated athletic departments and opportunities for this. So, I get it. It's the pushback. And in some ways, I applaud it. In some ways, it was always going to happen. You've got great institutions in the ACC, great institutions in the Big 12, great fan bases, a lot of money, a lot of value, communities. They don't want to be left. I get it. It's the pushback. And we're going to keep covering it here at Peek Around the Corner. But it's not for the betterment of college football. It's not. I mean, Utah is not reaching their hand out and pulling Utah State up. Neither is BYU. West Virginia is not spending time putting their hand down and promoting to bring Marshall up towards them. That's not happening. It's not going to happen. Why should it happen? But the powers that are looking out for the Big 12 and the ACC, and they are powerful, and they are many, and I don't blame them. But what they're doing with the Super League talk and everything else is to say, look, the Big 10 really can't be the Big 10 anymore. That should dissolve in some way, some manner, some form. And the Big 10's pushing back, and they're pushing back. It's a pushing game. It's both are using their leverage, or both are using their political power. And let me bridge all of this. Let me bridge all of this to one other thing. You know, a lot of people want Congress to get involved. Everybody wants Congress to codify it. And when I'm saying everyone, I'm saying leadership of these conferences, of these universities, want Congress. I'm going to say this, and then I'm going to get to your phone calls. Thank you, Ryan Willie, for the super chat. I should have said this earlier, but I'm going to say it now. Before I lose track, let me say this now. You're going to get something here. Hold on. You know, all these leaders are trying to get congressional help to codify the House settlement, right? Sankey has been working Congress forever. Forever, Sankey's been up there. He's been up there more than Petitti. Obviously, he has been, because he's been commissioner longer. But Sankey has been pushing and pulling the power to try to get all this codified. The SEC, you know, the Big Ten has been pushing for auto bids. The SEC has been pushing for a very tight clearinghouse. We've talked about this. A lot of people are pushing a lot of things. One of people are using their politicians, by the way. Right? Their connections with the politicians in Congress. One more incentive when all this gets done, and I'm not talking about the Super League stuff that's going to be going on for years. People are going to be trying to do that for the many, many, many years. But I'm talking about the House NCAA settlement, and I'm talking about establishing the guardrails, see if it gets codified, whatever. But one of the incentives for the SEC to expand is to have more power. Not only with what's going on with decision making in an advisory group with the Big Ten and over the A4, but the most powerful conference in the country is also looking for more political power. And that is one of many reasons, other than the viewership charts that people put up And all that is viable, all that is good information, all that is important information. But one of the cloak and dagger stuff that is going on is the SEC wants more power what's going on in Washington, D.C. And what additions will give the SEC more of a voice in Washington, D.C. is to tack on 2 virgin states that are not part of the Big Ten and the SEC, 2 major flagships, 2 major universities that have a lot of tentacles in Washington, D.C., and that is another incentive on what Sankey and the SEC presidents want to get accomplished during the next disruption. None of that is imminent. There's a lot of things that got to be worked out. A lot of bridges that got to be built. A lot of stuff's got to happen in 25. But that's another incentive driving the SEC in their future plans. Now we're going to get to your phone calls. Thank you, Ryan Willie, so much for your super chat. I very much appreciate it. Let's get to it. The phone lines are open. 763-260-1333. 763-260-1333. Thank you all for joining us on a beautiful Saturday, May 10th. Happy Mother's Day coming up to all you mothers. And for those who are not with us anymore, the next time we see you, it will be forever. Give us a call, 763-260-1333. I do apologize for the long monologue. I do apologize.
Call from
Marty, the floor is yours. Thanks for calling. I do appreciate it, sir.
Hey, no problem. Hey, I have a quick question for you. BYU fan, Big 12 fan. So, wanted to get your thoughts on this. If I'm Brett Yormark, here's maybe what I'm thinking, or at least trying. I realize, the 4-2-2, 4-4-2-2-1-1 model's coming. But I'm wondering, first of all, if I'm the Big 12, what about trying to guarantee one home game in that first round? That'd be my first thought. That's something I would be saying, hey, can we agree on this? Can we at least, hey, you got the 4 auto bids, we get the 2. Can we guarantee that our champion, whoever that's going to be, however we figure that out, is going to have at least one home game? That's my first thought. I don't know if that's been talked about, heard about. I think it has been a little bit, but if you have any thoughts on that. And then
go ahead.
The second idea, I don't know where that one would go. The second idea I would have is, and this might be a little harder, but if I was the Big 12 and the ACC, maybe I would say, okay, fine, you guys got the 4-4-2-2. We can really agree with you and really be on board. Maybe if Team 15, right? Team 14 is going to be Notre Dame if they're in the top 16. Okay, great.
Yep.
Team 15. Team 15 has to come either from the Big 12 or the ACC. One of the two. The committee will figure which team is the most deserving out of these two conferences, and that way it's kind of more of a 4-4, 2.5, 2.5, 1-1. I don't know if they'll go for it, but those are just some ideas. Want to get your thoughts on. If I'm Yormark in the room, maybe I'm at least trying to get. Do you have any thoughts on either of those?
Yeah. First of all, two. This is a brilliant phone call, Marty. I do appreciate it. Please call again. Brilliant phone call. Number one, what was the first question?
The first one was the home game. Get the home game.
Yeah. I keep looking at my second question, and I can't read what I've got on my note card because my... Okay. Yes, I mean... Okay, I'm talking as a fan here who doesn't like auto bids, but understanding what the reality looks like it's going to happen, and we've been reporting it's going to happen. As a fan, yes, that has to happen. God, please let it happen. If you are a conference
champion.
Yes, you should have a home game. A conference champion of an Autonomy 4. The problem is,
the seeding.
well,
tricky.
yeah. This is a great phone call because it brings up so much. Okay, let me get to the second one. Then we're going to go back to your first question. Okay, the second one is that's a very intriguing idea. The 4-4, 2.5, 2.5, 1 and 3. But one of the I don't know if that can work. One of the things about the auto bids is that the conferences media partners are going to want to know, like, how many play-in games are you going to have each and every year? So you're going to have a 5-year contract, 2 play-in games every year, 3 play. You know what I'm saying? And then the money and the contracts and the location. So you might be playing a play-in game that in the Big 12 that may get if you win, you may get in. If you lose, you might. I don't know how that would work. I don't know how that would work.
That makes sense.
But okay. And the first question again, I guess my question is how is the Big 12? What would you like to see? What would you like the Big 12 to do with their options in regards to the 2 auto bids? Would you like to see a 1 versus 4 and a 2 versus 3? Would you like to see that?
Yeah, I would like, for me, as a Big 12 fan, I'd love it if they could get 3 auto bids and they could just put their champion in and have 2 playing games.
Yeah.
I think, knowing that they're not going to get that, I think the 2 play-in games is the way I would choose. I think that knowing that the intrigue in November with trying to just get in the top 4, I think opens so many more doors than just the top 3. I really do. I think that makes it a little more intriguing as a conference race.
Yep.
Plus, I do like your point that you made. If your number 1 seed plays 4 and loses, the chances of them getting one of those, the 15th or 16th open bid, it's fairly. They got a risk of chance because your number 1 seeds now. Granted, they've just lost a game, but now they're facing the SEC or the Big Ten's 5th place team, and you gotta like your chances at least on that, and at least a shot.
Okay.
Now if your champion's a top 9 and 3, then sure, maybe not. But if you're 11 and 1, I think you get that. So that's where I would go.
So let me go to the next question then. That's what I would go for too. I have no information that the Big 12 is going to do that. That's what I would go for. But the problem with doing now, there's a lot of positives to that. 1 versus 4, 2 versus 3. That means that with 3 weeks left in the season, there could be 12 Big 12 schools still having a shot to get to the playoffs, right?
Yeah.
So that's intriguing. That's fun. I get all that. But the problem with 1 versus 4, 2 versus 3, you're not having a true Big 12 championship game. Therefore, you're going to have to declare your champion as the team that won the regular season. And there's nothing wrong with that. Okay, nothing wrong with that. But then if you do that, then that kind of screws up the idea of making sure that a Big 12 champion gets a home game. You know what I'm saying? Because what if
it
that
does.
So there's good stuff here, not good stuff here, bad stuff. It's all kind of a potpourri of confusion. I don't know. I don't know how they're going to do it, man. Great question.
I don't either.
Though.
It's tricky. But if I was your Mark, and I'm not, but if I was, I would be. the system isn't perfect anyway. I would be angling at least, hey, if I'm going to agree to this seating change in 2025, I realize we're not going to get 3 bids. You're not going to take 3 bids. We're going to be in the 4-4-2-2 model. At least our top seeded team, however we figure that out, whoever is our top seeded team gets a home game. Can we at least have that? I would be fighting for that.
Okay, yeah, that's a great point. So, after our play-in Saturday, because the selection show is going to be on that or on that Monday, whatever, the next day's selection show. Whoever comes out of our play-in format in the Big 12, whatever the committee has as the highest seeded Big 12 team, that team is guaranteed a home game. So if the committee is seeding 1 through 16, and the highest Big 12 seeded team coming out of the play-in is 12, you got to move them down to 8. They get a home game. I think I would be okay with that, obviously. So
yeah. All right, well, those are my thoughts. I'm sure your mark's on this, but that would be something. If I'm the Big 12, I'd be pushing for something. One of those something out of this that will maybe just give us just a little bit of help on that situation.
Yeah. All right, man. Beautiful call. Marty, call again, sir.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Good.
Bye.
Bye-bye. My neighbor's name is Marty. So when he said Marty, I'm like, but it didn't sound like Marty. So, Stormy Cyclone, that's the $1 million question. Don't think the SEC and the Big Ten would ever agree to a 14 cap. They are greedy. A good 720. Yeah, that isn't going to work. You think a G5 is going to get a home playoff game? They almost got a home playoff game last year. So, almost, kind of. Yeah, they did. I have built an automatic seeding based on where they finish in their conferences. That's interesting. I find that too much predetermination, though. I mean, not every year in college football is going to replicate what happened the previous year. This year, in a 12-team playoff, it could be obvious that the SEC should get 5 or 6 teams. Or somebody else should get more than they usually get. Not every year is going to replicate the year previous. Don Scruggs, all non-SEC fans are afraid of putting the best 14 teams in. This inclusion culture is shameful. The conferences should always play out the conference except keeping conference rivalries. I get it. But then again, in the NFL playoffs, you're not always getting the best teams. Some division winners are not the best top 6. But the reason why you do that is because you want inclusion in every part of the country. It helps the sport. In basketball, we don't have the best 68 teams going to the playoffs, but we have conference winners of small conferences, and the inclusion is part of why the dance is so popular. So while the playoffs, the football playoffs is going to be smaller number of games, most of the time you're going to get the best teams in. I mean, You're going to, 90% of the field is going to be the best teams. But I don't have a problem with that little part of inclusion as part of the playoffs. Larry the Jam says he wants the committee out except for the 3 at large. Well, they're going to be out, except for they got to seed the teams. You got to have somebody have the seeding. You got to have someone seeding it. You can't just go, the third place in the SEC gets this seed in the playoffs. It cannot be that automatic, in my opinion. In my opinion. All right, let's see. Let me see if I got caught up to everything here. Hold on. First of all, Whoops. I did not want to do that. Hold on. That is weird. Very weird. This thing isn't working. Interesting. All right. If you're new to the channel, and if you haven't subscribed to the channel, what are you waiting for? Subscribe to our channel and turn on those notifications. Please smash the like button if you've liked our content today. We've been on the air for 1 hour and 57 minutes. We're going to be closing it down. I appreciate Bill G, Jose, George Holton, Mark Bowman, Rock and Rant, Mo and After Dark, Heartbreak 25, and Ryan Willie for your incredible generosity. Thank you guys so very much to help us keep the lights on. I do appreciate it so very much. The great phone call from Marty. Spectacular phone call. I hope he calls again. I do very much appreciate it so very much. Numbskull News, I am a subscriber. Thank you for being a subscriber, Numbskull News. I do appreciate it. Very much appreciate it. Cranky Tiger, automatic qualifiers are awful. I agree, but they are a coming. Thank you, Jose, for coming on in. Appreciate it. Appreciate all you guys. Again, keep your head on a swivel. Buckle up, brace for impact. This week is going to be dramatic. ACC meetings, so many things are going to be happening. Again, what was it? Thursday, we did 2 live shows. It ain't going to be the only day in May where we're going to end up doing 2 live shows because of everything that's going to be going on. So make sure you subscribe and turn on the notifications. Keep your head on a swivel until next time. From all of us at Peek Around the Corner to all of you, please y'all take great care of each other. Thank you so very much.